Does he get a presidential motorcade to go from Trump Tower to the courthouse? Like, how long is that trip? And will the public actually have a chance to see him during that trip when he walks into the courthouse, et cetera? When will we actually see him? How long is it going to take him to get from Trump Tower to the courthouse?
So it's roughly a 3 mile drive. My guess, and this is a pure guess, is that he would take the FDR Drive, which is the highway that runs along the East River, that dumps you off right next to the courthouse. So unless somebody is on 56th Street right by Trump Tower, you're not going to have an opportunity to see him because you can't stand along the highway.
And I was listening to a podcast yesterday. They said he is thinking about things like, will I smile when I walk through the hallway in the bowels of the New York courthouse? And so will there be a glimpse of him at some point within the courthouse?
Well, there certainly will be once he's in the courtroom, because the judge has allowed a pool of 5 photographers into the jury box before the proceedings start. So everybody is going to see those images. And I think it's very likely that the former president has thought a lot about what image he wants to project for those photographers.
So those photographers do have to leave once the proceedings begin. Do I have that right?
Correct.
And so the judge has ruled that. I understand, especially, after the O.J. Simpson situation, you just saw a judge completely lose control of a situation there. No judge wants to do that again. And I can understand why a judge would say no cameras. But at the same time, this has never happened in American history. It's kind of bad to not have that for posterity. What do you think, as someone who has been a federal prosecutor where there are never cameras allowed in the federal courthouse? So what do you think of the judge's decision here?
So the judge has the discretion with something like this, an arraignment where no testimony is going to be taken. By law in New York state courts, for the trial itself where testimony will be taken, the judge cannot allow cameras in the courtroom. So I think that he's reached a fair compromise with regard to today's proceedings. But nobody should expect to be able to follow this trial the way they trialed the O.J. Simpson trial or the Murdoch trial or any of the other high-profile televised trials.
So how long will this all take?
An usual arraignment is over in 3 to 5 minutes. There is normally a waiving of the reading of the indictment, the entry of a plea of not guilty, and the assignment of bail, and then and perhaps some scheduling, and that's it.
So even if there's a waiving of the arraignment, though, it will then become unsealed. We will be able to see what these charges are, right?
Well, so they're not going to force the prosecutor to read out loud the counts, but as soon as the arraignment begins, my expectation is that the Public Affairs Office of the DA will make public a copy of the indictment, which everybody in the press will have, and it'll be around the world very quickly.
And I know it's still sealed, so we're asking you to kind of read the tea leaves here, but what do you expect to see when you do see that indictment?
So clearly there's going to be a charge or charges for false entries in the Trump Organization books and records with regard to how they accounted for the payments to Stormy Daniels and the repayments to Michael Cohen. The thing that I'm looking for most intently is what is the underlying crime that the DA is contending was being advanced or covered up by those payments? Because the false entries by themselves are just a misdemeanor. It's the cover-up or the advancing of another crime that converts it into a felony. Lots of people have been speculating that that's going to be a campaign finance charge. I have some concerns and some doubts about that, because I think that the campaign finance laws, as the state laws interact with the federal laws, would make that underlying case very difficult.
Well, and I want to ask you about that, too, because I have read a lot that this is an iffy case, because you have a local DA that's basically prosecuting a state charge, but it's a federal campaign, and it hinges on the word of a convicted and admitted perjurer. So do you think this case begins on shaky ground?
Well, I don't know, because I'm not confident that it's going to be the campaign finance predicate crime.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation in your cable lineup. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-based, unbiased coverage.